There's a dog somewhere in your home right now. Maybe on the couch, maybe at your feet, maybe across the room, just watching. And you've probably smiled at it, called it cute, maybe even said something like, "You're such a shadow, always following me everywhere." But here's what nobody tells you about that moment. What you're reading as affection, the closeness, the stillness, the way their eyes track you across a room has a second language underneath it, a quieter one. One that's been running in the background since the day they chose you. Your dog isn't just loving you, they're guarding you. And by the end of this, you'll never look at the small, ordinary things they do the same way again. Think about the last time you moved from one room to another. The kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom, and within seconds, there were paws on the floor behind you. A warm presence settling somewhere nearby. You probably didn't think much of it. Maybe you laughed and said they can't stand to be alone. But most people have it slightly backwards. It isn't that they can't stand to be without you. It's that they won't leave you unguarded. There's a difference. And once you feel it, something shifts. Most people think protection looks loud. It looks like growling at strangers, barking at the door, standing between you and something threatening with teeth bared. That's the version we see in movies. The dramatic, visible version. But real protection, the kind that runs deepest in the bond between a dog and their person, is almost always silent. It lives in proximity, in positioning, in the quiet, continuous act of paying attention. And here's what most people miss entirely. Your dog doesn't wait for danger to respond. They organize their whole body, their whole day, around the possibility of it. Every behavior you've written off as sweet or clingy or just their personality, it has structure underneath it. It has intention. Let's start at the beginning. When your dog stays close to you, not just nearby, but times close, pressed against your leg or sitting where they can feel the warmth of you, that's not anxious attachment. That's not insecurity, that's positioning. Think about how a bodyguard moves through a room with someone they're protecting. They don't stand across the space and watch from a distance. They stay within reach. They keep the body near. Not because they're afraid of being alone, but because closeness is the only way to respond in time. Your dog is doing the same thing. The distance between you and them is information they're constantly monitoring. When that distance shrinks, when they lean in, when they settle at your feet instead of on the other side of the room, they're not being needy. They're being ready. There's something almost ancient about it. Dogs have been co-regulating with humans for tens of thousands of years, their nervous systems learning to attune to ours in a way no other species has. Closeness isn't just emotional for them, it's functional. You've probably noticed them scanning a room, not looking at anything specific, not chasing a sound or focused on a particular corner, just watching, eyes moving, posture alert. Even when nothing is happening, even when the environment is completely familiar and safe, they're doing a quiet inventory of everything around you. This is environmental monitoring, and it runs even when you can't see it. Your dog holds a mental map of the space you share. They know who belongs in it. They notice when something is different, a new smell, a different sound pattern, a car that usually passes but didn't, a guest who arrived and hasn't left yet. The scan never fully stops. It just gets quieter when everything checks out. What looks like a dog peacefully sitting in a room is often a dog doing continuous, invisible work. Here's the part that tends to stop people when they first really see it. Have you noticed where your dog positions themselves when someone new enters the room? Not behind you, not beside you, between you and them. It looks casual. It might look like they're just curious, just moving toward the newcomer, just doing what dogs do. But there's geometry in it. They place their body in the space between yours and the unknown person's. They create a layer, a buffer, a door they have to pass through before they reach you. It isn't random. It isn't accidental. It's one of the most deliberate things your dog does, and most people spend years watching it happen without ever recognizing what they're seeing. And this is where it gets interesting. Because that behavior doesn't just appear when your dog senses something wrong, it appears when they sense something times uncertain. There doesn't need to be a threat. There just needs to be an unknown. And uncertainty, to a dog keeping watch, is enough. The following behavior is one of the most commonly misread. They follow you everywhere. Room to room, floor to floor, sometimes standing outside the bathroom door just waiting for the click of the handle. People call it separation anxiety. They call it Velcro dog. They call it sweet, but sometimes a lot. But consider the other frame. Distance, for a dog running a protection protocol, means less control. It means if something happened, they might not be there in time. The following isn't compulsive, it's strategic. It's the same reason a parent checks on a sleeping child, not because anything is wrong, because being close enough to respond is part of the job. The following is coverage. The following is your dog saying quietly with every padded step, "I'm not going to let you be somewhere without me." There's a particular kind of watching that's different from all the rest. Not watching the room, not scanning the environment, watching you, your face, your hands, the rhythm of your breathing, the way you hold your shoulders when you're tense versus when you're fine. Your dog has spent so much time reading you that they know the difference between the way you move on a normal Tuesday and the way you move when something is wrong, even when you haven't said anything, even when you've barely moved at all. They are, in some measurable sense, running a continuous emotional scan of the person they've decided is their person. You are the priority, not the room, not the street outside, not the sounds coming through the wall. You, your internal state is data they're constantly collecting and interpreting. And this leads to the behavior that tends to hit people hardest when they really think about it. They respond when you're not okay, before you've said anything, before anyone else in the room has noticed, before you've fully admitted it to yourself. They come closer. They put their head in your lap. They bring you something. Or they just sit with you in a way that feels different from ordinary sitting, heavier somehow, more intentional, more present. What's happening there is something researchers have tried to explain and haven't quite captured fully. Dogs read human emotional states through a combination of scent changes, micro-expressions, posture shifts, and vocal tone in ways our own species often misses. The emotional check-in isn't guesswork. It's the result of years of paying close attention to exactly one person. You didn't have to say anything. They already knew. And then there's sleep. Think about where your dog chooses to sleep, not where they're told, where they choose when the choice is theirs. Near you, at your feet, against the bedroom door, in the space between you and the rest of the house. Sleep is the most vulnerable state a living creature can be in. And your dog, even in rest, places themselves where they can still be useful, where they would be the first to know if something approached, where they're not fully off, just reduced, aware in that animal way that lets them be at the door, alert before you've even registered the sound. That isn't coincidence. That isn't just comfort seeking. That's a sleeping sentinel. Have you ever noticed how they act differently around certain people? Not aggressive, not necessarily, just different, watchful in a different way, a posture that's slightly more forward, an attention that doesn't waver. Some people, your dog accepts immediately, and the room goes easy. Others, something quiet and held stays in your dog's body that doesn't fully release, even when the visit is perfectly normal, even when nothing bad happens. Trust your dog's read more than you think you should. They're not working from bias or social scripts or trying to be polite. They're responding to something in the person's energy, something in their behavior, something their body is broadcasting without knowing it. Your dog has no reason to pretend. What you see is what they actually feel. When a dog shifts behavior around someone, the environment has shifted. Something in the room changed, and it usually isn't the furniture. You see comfort when your dog curls up near you, when they follow you down the hall, when they lean in close and settle there like they have nowhere else to be. They feel responsibility. That's the thing that changes everything once you sit with it. They're not just receiving your love, they're actively, quietly, continuously giving something back. A kind of care that doesn't require language, doesn't need acknowledgement, never asks for recognition. They've been watching over you this whole time, not because you asked, not because they were trained to, because somewhere in the deep architecture of who they are, you became someone worth protecting. Someone worth positioning near, watching carefully, following through rooms, waking up beside the things you called clingy. The behaviors you called quirky or sweet or just their personality. They were a language, and now you know how to read it. You just didn't realize what it looked like.